Hi everyone, I decided to do my next chapter of There's No Such Thing as Business Ethics. And I am a John Maxwell speaker. I'm with the team and I'm doing this for family and friends. I'm also posting it to my YouTube. I would encourage you to share it for me and help others. It will also help me to get my name out there and to help me get work coming in. I'm still looking for executive assistant work, project coordination work, or HR roles, and I am sending out applications. There's not that many jobs available, to be honest with you. When I look at LinkedIn, Glassdoor, Indeed, I see the same jobs, and obviously there's thousands of people applying for those jobs. So if you could help me out by sharing my videos, it will probably help me to get some training positions or to get into an executive assistant role or a role where I can help others using my skills for John Maxwell. I can tailor the training to what the company needs and I can help them in that way. So for today's chapter, I'm looking at seizing your golden opportunity. And there's John Maxwell says we need to take responsibility for our actions. So I could easily sit back and just say, oh, things will come to me. People will refer me, but I'm not doing that. I'm taking action. And you'll find that in life we can't play the victim. We can't have hang-ups about things because if we do, we'll never get anywhere. I know there's people that have worse circumstances than me, and I'm very grateful for the people that have helped me, even strangers who have given to my GoFundMe, people who don't know me. It's nice of them because they really don't know me and they're going off what I'm saying on my GoFundMe page. A lot of business people, they will sell shares in a company. That's what public companies do. That's what the banks do. That's how they raise their capital. For me, because I don't have an income and I have used my time in Canada wisely to study, to invest in myself. I've got this John Maxwell, I've got my HR designations, my aromatherapy. I've been building my skills and I've been helping people. But that also means that I cannot, until I start saving, I cannot apply for more loans because they won't give it to me. So it becomes a catch-22. So that's the other reason I set up my GoFundMe, because I'm looking at taking initiative and doing something proactive rather than having a hang-up about it and just sitting back and doing nothing. And I'm grateful to those who share it for me and those who help me. It means a lot to me. I know there's people who have lost everything. Spain has had devastating floods. There's been tornadoes in parts of France. There's been wildfires in California. So I'm grateful for what I have, and it's been hard, even to just get the little things. It's been hard. And other people buy their TV right away. I waited until I had all the essential things that I needed first, and my television is the last thing I bought. The other point in this is that he says there are people who have bang-ups. They blame past personal problems and hurts for not being able to move forward, for not being able to accomplish. And I think there's a lot of people who have gone through a lot worse situations than me. I use Nelson Mandela as an example and Robert Mugabe. I mean, they came out, they reconciled with people, they came out of prison, and to spend that long a time in prison, to be abused, to be verbally abused, to be given hard labor, to have your health suffer, it takes a tremendous amount of courage and a tremendous amount of faith to be able to do that. I've had the same thing happen to me on those calls that I had at Teleperformance. I've had the same amount of disappointment because in England, I also had contract work on my working holiday. So I didn't have a permanent job there. But that was the idea. I went in knowing I would get contracts. And I had some stability. My last job at Bovis Lend-Lease, I was there for quite a while. So it becomes very disheartening when you're going through most of your life and you have unemployment, sporadic work, people are blaming you. And I keep telling people, it's not me. Do you really think if it was me, I would have accomplished what I did? I would have completed my master's. I would have completed my designation in HR. I would have had the discipline to study and work. But yet people keep blaming me and saying I am the problem, when I know that I'm not the problem. Sometimes companies' systems go down and then they're like, oh, where were you for these 2 hours? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe the system went down. Whatever I do, I'm honest. I tell you when I'm in a meeting, I tell you when we're doing company testing. Instead of the management taking responsibility, setting up things properly, making sure that the workers have what they need, they're putting all the onus on us. When I worked at TD, part of my responsibility was to onboard people as an executive assistant. So it didn't matter if it was an executive or the admin coming in. I had a form that I filled out. I made sure their IDs were set up. I made sure they had their badges ready. I made sure that they had their laptops ready. I never had one person happen what happened to me, where they're like, oh, we can't fix your ID, so we're going to let you go. I mean, that means you don't value me. You can tell me you value me till the cows come home. You don't value me. If you valued me, you would have transferred me to a management job in England or in America or somewhere else. And at the same salary or a better salary, not tell me, oh, you can go on the website now and apply, and if you get selected, then we'll bring you in. That's not valuing me. And then there's the gang-ups, those who blame other people for hindering them. So they'll gang up on you, or they'll say, you know, this is all your fault. There's other people to think about. It's not just you. And you won't get that support that you need. And so we have to look at where the problems are, and we have to try to help them. I'm happy to see that now. And it still didn't work. And here in Canada, we have a situation where Christian rights are being taken away. So Christians are experiencing churches being burned. We're not having religious accommodation. We're not having health accommodation. And it's very frightening to see that. And I've come from a background where I had people working for me, and my family had people working for me. We never treated them the way I get treated, and I get treated horribly. So I'm happy to see that Christians are coming together to fight back, and that it's not only my church, it's not only my parish. There's a lot of people coming together now and trying to hold politicians accountable. Because this is not the way that Canada used to be. And it's not the country that I had envisioned when I came here. So we have to also look at how we can take responsibility, what we can do to help employers to fix the problems where they are, and to make a difference where we are. Because if I've done everything right, if I've sent emails saying these are my hours, this is what needs to be done, as a worker, it's not fair to make me wait another month to get my pay from you when I've done the work. And that's what keeps happening, not just to me, but to a lot of people that have come into Canada. And when I mentor people, they'll say to me, is that how it is? I'm like, yes. If you say anything to them, they'll just tell you, be patient. If it takes a month, it takes a month, because they don't care. If they cared, they would do something to make sure that you can pick up a check the next week, or they can get you that money or put it into your bank account, but they don't have anything like that in place. And so I just tell them, just do whatever they're telling you, because you want to keep your job, you want to hold on to it, you don't want to get fired, because if you don't hold on to it, they'll just let you go. And they'll say, oh, you know what, we don't like your attitude, it's not a good fit, so you can go, we'll hire the next person. They don't care if they have to retrain that person, they have to go through recruitment, they have to go through onboarding them, getting new systems set up, new IDs, new IT. They'd rather do all that than fix the problem of making sure people are earning a living wage and people are getting paid properly. And if you have somebody like me that's been in your company for 5 years and you didn't track that, okay, on this day there was this training going on this day this person reported she had a nosebleed, and that it was approved for the pay to go through, and then you tell me you're only going to pay me half of that. I mean, that really doesn't make me feel valued as an employee. And what's happening to me is not just happening to me in Canada, it's happening to a lot of people. Now our postal workers went on strike. Everybody needs a living wage. Things are expensive in Toronto. Things are expensive for everybody. So I support a living wage. I support the trade unions. I've come from a Catholic background that supported trade unions, that supported human rights, that supported people being treated properly and paid properly, and having religious accommodation and having health accommodation. And they brought in the laws now, and I am being very clear. They've brought in the laws now where they are saying that they accept sex workers, they accept creating the circumstances where sex work is allowed. I do not accept that, and I do not tolerate it. And I don't think the Global Fund, which gets money from our churches, should be accepting it, because it's a cop-out. It's a cop-out because you have power differentials, you have things happening like in Harrods, where you have a salesperson that's doing a frontline job, and then their CEO or whoever calls them in and demands sex with them. And it's happening to women and men all over the world. And they're saying that this is fine. So for me, it's not fine. So I am being very clear when I market my skills, when I market what I can bring to a company, that I'm not willing to do sex work. I'm not willing to be a prostitute. They should just call it prostitution, because that's what it is. And then from there it will go into trafficking, just like they had that Vogue scandal now recently with the men. What's the difference? So people who have jobs and houses and property and their lives are fine, they won't care, because why should they care? And selling organs and all that, why should they care? Because to them it's like, hey, if you need the money, go and have sex. Use a condom and protect yourself. To me, that's not what it's about. To me, as a spiritual director, we are created in the image and the likeness of God. And sex is a sacred act. It's not there to be sold. Just like our organs are not there to be sold. So I'm willing to stand up for that, and I put it everywhere now. I put it on my Instagram, my Facebook, my LinkedIn. I'm not open to prostitution, and I'm not open to trafficking. I'm not open to sex work. And if there's people in the church that want to support that, it shouldn't be allowed. Because people should have proper jobs, proper lives, and proper incomes. And you can say, oh yeah, well, they accepted it. They consented to it. Really? If you're living in somebody's house and you have nothing else to go to, and you haven't got any job, and your employer comes in and demands sex with you, that is consent? I don't think so. It's happening to millions of people here in Canada. And I went to town halls, People can follow up with Marco Mendocino, including the police. They can follow up with Marco Mendocino and ask him what happened at his town hall. The first town hall he had at a school here. And I wasn't the only one who was at that town hall. There were tons of people at that town hall. And Marco's dad was there. Mr. Mendocino was there. So don't tell me that sex work is okay and that women are consenting to it and men, because we're not. The circumstances are being created where people are not going to have a choice. And it's up to us as Christians and people of faith to say no. And to tell our friends, to tell our families to say no. Because it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable to lower your standards and to go into that filth. It's like that documentary that I watched on the EWTN, where the guy that started all this kind of filth and bringing communism into the church and organizing and all that, he said, I would rather carry on doing bad and then go to hell and train people to carry on doing bad than to have to live a good life and to follow this way of doing good. And that's exactly what happened in Rwanda. That's exactly what happened in Germany with Hitler. They started it the same way. Oh, mercy killings, mercy killings. Then they started experimenting on children. Then they opened up work camps. Then they started killing the Jews and the Catholics and everybody else. That's how it started. And if you don't believe me, go and read the history. Go into a library. Don't look on the internet. Go into a library and read the history books, because it's the truth. And if you think it's not the way it looks to me, it is exactly the way it looks. Because the madams and the executive will go around saying, oh, they just wanted to be her friend. And then what happened to that woman in France? The husband got her drunk, or he drugged her, and then he invited. He called people, men of all backgrounds, all different income levels, to come and gang rape his wife. And those guys went to court and said, we thought she agreed to it. This is the kind of sick society that I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. It's sick. So I'm just going to do that point for today. And I went to church today. I prayed not to give in to despair, because what's happening to me has been happening to me since I came to Canada. From the time I arrived in this country, that's what's been happening. Oh, we don't have a job for you. Oh, you're overqualified. Oh, you don't have Canadian experience. Oh no, we can't help you with your financial situation. We can't help you with investment in retraining to Canadian standards. So I did it anyway by the grace of God. But I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up trying to get into a good job that pays me well, where people will respect me and respect my religion and respect my values. I'm not going to give up. And I'm not willing to go and be a prostitute. That is not why I studied and trained and did everything I did, to be a prostitute, to go work at Harrods and be made a prostitute by people who, Lady Diana, Princess Diana, was dating that guy. It's his father that did it. He got caught. He got called out. You think it's not happening with other people? And they'll say, oh no, Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile and this and that. So how does it start? How does it start? It starts with society accepting it. And I'm not accepting it. And I would encourage others not to accept it. Because today it's happening to me. Tomorrow it will happen to your son, your daughter. If you don't love me, that's fine. Do it for them. Don't fool yourself by thinking that, oh, if you have an affair, it's not going to hurt you. It will hurt you. it will hurt you. The same way that prostitution and trafficking and sex work hurts. It will hurt you, and it will hurt your companies. And the jobs will be taken away from your companies, and they'll be given to people who respect good values.